Sorry about the messy board. My marker doesn't erase very well. So in my class, I use this system usually. It's called the 3x system. So I'll draw 3x's on the board with 3 lines underneath them. And it's kind of like baseball. Like if you get 3 strikes, then you're out. So if the kids kind of make me angry or disrupt the class, then I'll erase 1 line, and I'll do that every time they do something kind of wrong until 1x is deleted. Now, if I take out the whole x, then I have the kids put their head on the desk for 1 minute. If it happens the second time, they put their head on the desk for 2 minutes. And if it happens a third time, then I'll tell the homeroom teacher to kind of yell at them. A system like this is really important, especially in the classes that are a little bit more challenging, because it can provide like some stabilization a little bit to the class, like the kids know what to expect. So in general, the kids don't understand us when we talk, so almost everything needs to be visual. So this lets them see a visual cue of like how you're doing in class, how you're feeling, and whether you're going to get angry or not. This protects them a little bit from my anger, because I will yell at them. So I don't want to get angry at them, so I need to kind of work my way up. So there's tons of ideas for how to do this. For me, I like the 3x system because it's easy to do like in any classroom, but almost any system like red light, green light, or whatever works for you would do the same thing. The important thing is just giving them a visual to kind of see where their behavior is, and to make sure that you're able to show like that you're losing points, but let them know before it gets to the point where you feel really frustrated with them. So that's what I do in terms of like getting the students' behavior. There's another part of it, which is student motivation. So especially at Gwangyang School, the kids aren't going to be very motivated because the majority of them are low-level kids. So what I'm doing this year is putting a number for the team. So this is for team 1, team 2, team 3, etc. And then just basically whenever they answer a question by raising their hands, I'll draw a line under their team. And this helps because I don't know the kids' names. So if I don't know their names, I need something I can do pretty easily. Now the kids, I don't know if you have them sitting in teams or not sitting in teams. This year my kids are sitting in lines because of COVID. So I just have it be like 1 line of students is team 2. And this works as well too. Like if you have one student who's really causing a problem, you can just erase 1 point from their team, and then the kids will manage themselves because they get angry at each other when somebody disrupts the point system. In terms of what this means, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing, like you're gonna have a winning team at the end of every class. So how you do that is different depending on how you feel. So for me this year, I'm teaching in the homeroom teachers classes. So what I'm doing is at the end of the class, I'm having the kids repeat the vocabulary words. But if they're the winning team, they get to sit down first, and then the second team sits down second, until the losing team is the last team standing. They have to repeat the vocabulary words by themselves. But if you're using your own classroom, you can use it as like the team with the most points gets to leave the class first, and then the team with the last points leaves the class last. In the past, I've done a sticker system where I gave the kids like a chart where it had like little boxes on it, and then I would give them a star if they were the winning team. And then those students could, like, once they filled up this chart, they could get a candy from me if they came to my office. Last year, because of online learning, I also was using Class Dojo. So Class Dojo is a class management system that's always online. And so basically what you do is the kids, you type their names in, and then they get a monster. So this was from one of my schools last year. And you add in like points here. So I use this sometimes for like calling the kids' names out randomly. And also like if they're the winning team, I'll select them and give them points. So a system like this can also work really well for motivating students if you want to take the time to set it up. But this year I decided not to do it because I don't know my kids' names well enough yet. So I'm just using the popsicle stick system with calling their names out from a chart. Another thing I'm doing this year is like a like a work towards a goal thing. So like for every X that a kid has left at the end of class, I'm putting a stamp on this chart. And so if the class gets to the end of the chart before Easter, then we get to have an Easter kind of class where we'll have a kind of party, but I can't give my kids candy, so I don't really want to call it a party. But basically, if they, finish this, then they won't have to do the book on that day. So they feel really motivated about that kind of stuff. But last year, especially at Gwangyang, we had an issue where we had to close suddenly because of COVID. So it was really hard to like keep a certain like reward system. So I kind of recommend for Gwangyang kids to do this like more instant reward system rather than something that they're working towards later, because last year they might have lost trust in those systems because schools were closed. So I would try something like putting the team points on the board and then letting the kids leave the class first if they have the most points. And again, make sure to have some visualization that you can keep track of for how your like anger level is at the class. Also, I've made a PowerPoint that I'm using like at the beginning of every class just to make sure that the kids get on the same page. So the first thing I do when the kids come in the room, or when I go into the room to start, first I'll play like a video, but after the video finishes, I'll have the kids stand up. They have to follow these directions and do it really well. Otherwise, I'll make them do it again and again until we all get on the same page. So I usually read it like stand up, sit down, listen, look, get your pencil, get your book. And then because it's the start of the year, we go over the class rules again. I found these on my computer this year, actually, at this school. I just copied and pasted it in, but I like these rules. So at the start of every class, we have to go over the rules. If you are using your own classroom, then if I were you, I would print your rules out in English and Korean and put them on the board so that like at the start of class, you can always go over them. And then, yeah, I just keep like a good routine with the kids. I make sure to do the same thing at the beginning of every class just to get them kind of warmed up. I mean, there's like a ton of different systems for this kind of stuff, but like, I guess this is mine. I just recommend, again, like try to be really visual about everything because their English levels are so low. They don't really know what's going on. And, don't feel like you have to play a game in every class too. If you really don't want to play a game, you don't have to. Like, if they're not, listening well enough to play a game, then it's just not going to work for them. Instead, you might need to gamify kind of how you're teaching rather than having a game. In terms of the 1, 2, 3 look at me stuff and 1, 2 eyes on you stuff, I hate that kind of thing personally. The kids can kind of like it, but I think it's kind of cheesy, so I don't use them in my class. Instead, I usually just do a countdown. So I'll go like 5, dun, dun, 4, dun, dun, and get the kids to clap in between every time. And I think the kids enjoy it, and it's a little simpler than having to remember, how to say some chant or something. But I mean, if you like it, there's nothing wrong with using it. It's just not really my style. I'm kind of an extroverted teacher anyway, so I just use a bunch of stuff to like engage the kids. Like I'll squeak my rubber chicken at them, and like I have just like a lot of tools and stuff. I don't know, like I feel very like loud. I'm kind of loud, and I always do a lot of really extroverted kind of things in class, even though I'm super introverted. But it kind of helps a little bit if I'm louder than the kids. So I think that it really helps that I just kind of like go ahead and put it all out there, and then the kids kind of pick up on it after that.